James Wright. Welcome to my shop. Today we're going to talk about how to sharpen a crosscut saw. I've had a lot of people asking about that, and so let's get to it. This particular saw I picked up at a resale shop for 50 cents. A really good deal. It's made by G.H. Bishop, Cincinnati, Ohio. And after doing a little bit of research on it, I found out that it was made between 1888 and 1890. So this is about 130 years old. And in amazing condition for how old it is. The handle is just one of those grips that just feels fantastic. You can tell that it was made by a person, and they were gripping it as they were shaping it. So that's something you want to cherish and you want to keep good and you want to pass down. But one art that a lot of people have lost is how do you sharpen a saw? And so I'm not going to be going into the difference between crosscut and rip cut saws. I'll probably be doing a video about that sometime in the future. You may even find that right here, right now. But right now I just want to talk about how do you sharpen a crosscut saw. So come along with me and I'll show you how to do it. So the first thing we need to talk about when sharpening a saw is how do you hold the saw so that you can sharpen it. Particularly, the easiest thing is just to grab two boards, put the saw blade between them, clamp them in your vise, and go to town. It's pretty simple once you get used to it. It just takes a little bit of finagling to set it up the first time. You want boards that are stiff enough and strong enough to hold the saw over the whole length of it, and so I like to use these that were rip-outs from an old dresser, and they work very well for the process. You can get clamps that are designed for holding the saw, and a lot of your antique stores still have those. So look around, you may find one you like. I haven't come across one yet, but I'm sure sometime in the future I'll have something to replace these sticks. The next thing is the file you need for cutting it. The files have a triangular shape, and they actually, on the tip, they are flat here. So they're actually six-sided, 3 very large sides and 3 very small sides. And you'll need this whether you're doing crosscut or doing a rip cut. So these you can pick up fairly cheaply, or you can really go out and buy the good ones. Also going to need a basically your standard flat file, and this will be for doing your jointing. So you probably have one of these in stock. Grab it and go to town. Grab the saw, set it right down in there. Get the boards the way I want them. Put one on either side. With this particular saw, I'm going to have to slide this out so that the handle sticks out. Just get them into a general position. Temporarily put some pressure on with the vise. And then bring everything to level. I like to have the saw sticking up, not quite that much pressure. I like to have the saw sticking up about 3/8 of an inch to a 1/2 inch. You'll find that you find a height that allows you with the right amount of flexibility. Some people like the saw to be extremely stiff when they are sharpening it, and some not so much. But yeah, just like that. Nothing particular, but that's how I do it.
So the first thing we need to do is joint all of the teeth. That's basically taking the flat file and running it along every single tooth to bring them all down to the same height. Now if you're just sharpening a saw, this is normally only 1 or 2 passes to bring every tooth down. But in this case I had to do a couple dozen passes. You want to keep the file at 90 degrees to the plate of the saw. And it's pretty easy. They do make tools to make sure that it's at 90 degrees, but I find it just simple to do it by hand. The way you can tell that they are all brought down to the same height is you look at every single tooth and make sure that there's a slight flat spot on every tooth. In this case, a lot of them have large flat spots, and a few of them just have a few little spots.
So I don't want to tip the file one way or the other. I want to keep these flat because I want to keep a vertical tooth. I don't want the tooth angling one way or the other. That's my preference. Some people like to tip the tooth forward just a little bit so you get a better push cut. But then I'm also not only going straight across. If I go straight across, then that is a rip cut, but I'm going to actually turn it about 30 degrees. And every other cut is going to be an opposite 30 degrees. And also I have this plank here to give it a slight dip. So when I'm cutting back, I'm actually tipping it down a little bit this way. And then when I'm cutting forward, I'm tipping it down a little bit this way. And that is going to then give me some fleam on the cut. Basically, I'm just going to slowly work down this, and I want to take every tooth until that flat spot on the top disappears. And at that point, I stop. I don't want to do it any farther. The moment that disappears means that every tooth is at the same level. And then I can go back and clean them up. They'll have a little bit of a rough edge, which I'll actually hone up with a 1000 grit honing stick. So I'm going to be going down every single tooth. This is going to take a while, but if you do it right, it will save you so much time in the future and you'll get an amazing cut. So let me do a couple of these and you can watch what I'm doing. So I'm keeping it flat, bring it back, and check it, check it, check it. One more and I might be there. No, one more. And I'm trying to focus on the tooth behind the file, because that's the one I need to bring sharp. And it's going to be working a little bit on the one in front of it, but then once I come over here to this side, then I can focus on the one that was in front of it, but now is behind it. Two more maybe? Nope, a couple more. That one's being a bit stubborn. One more. There we go. The flat spot disappeared, so then I move on to the next one. And that flat spot disappeared. That one's the easy one. The last person who sharpened this made every other tooth higher than the one before, and so every one that was leaning this way was higher than the ones leaning that way. So that meant you were cutting more material on this side, which would force the saw to turn slightly. And I'm making sure that both teeth that are set both directions are at the same height. And this is going to take quite a bit of work, but slowly but surely I'll work from one end to the other. So we'll see how it goes.
So here's a few quick pictures close up. This particular one is just before I started sharpening. The farthest tooth to the right has a sharp edge on it, and every other tooth has a flat spot. So you're trying to get rid of those flat spots on all of the teeth. Here is another close-up where you can see some of them have a very large flat spot and some of them have a very small flat spot. When you joint them, that brings them all to the same level, but as you sharpen it, you're getting rid of all of those flat spots.
So there you have it. It's a pretty simple process once you understand the dynamics and what the tooth needs to look like. But it's really something you just got to jump into and work with and get to learn to love it. I really hesitated for a long time about sharpening my saws. That was just something that I didn't quite wrap my brain around. But as soon as I tried it, I found that it's become kind of meditative. It's something I like to do and go down to the basement and put on a good audio book and go to town on them. I actually like to set up all my saws and do them all at once and make a day of it. And it's something I rather enjoy. I look forward to it. So I hope you like this. Please let me know in the comments below what did you like, what didn't you like, and what would you like to see next time. So feel free to look at my other videos, and I'll talk to you next time. Have a wonderful day.